Next thing on today's podcast is Andy's top tips. So Andy, the Garmin top tip first, please.
Yeah, my Garmin top tip for this week. I've had a lot of questions in the last couple of weeks of customers who are using the sort of newer generation Oregon 700, 750 or eTrex touch units that have this function where when you start your walk, you flick up from the bottom of the map page and press start to start the recording. Now the question I've had is, if you get the low battery warning on your unit and you need to change batteries, how do you make sure this track recording continues? So if you've got one of the newer generation eTrex Touch series or Oregon 700, 750 series, what you need to do is, if you get that warning that says low battery, we'd always recommend turning your unit off with the power button rather than just taking the battery straight out. Change your batteries, turn the unit back on. Now the nice thing is it has what we call a non-volatile memory, meaning you don't lose your track recording data that you've just done. What you need to do is when the unit's turned back on, if you were navigating a route or a track, just make that navigation shouldn't have stopped. But I always say the first screen you're going to go back to is the activity screen you were on, either hike, cycle, etc. Touch the little magnifying glass, and if it's still navigating to your track, it'll say navigating to. Now I know you get the option to stop navigation, you would cancel that, so that means it's still navigating your route. If you then touch on the, say, the hike profile or the cycle profile, so you're on your map page, what you need to do is swipe up from the bottom of the screen where you press the start, right at the start of your walk, and what you'll find is it'll actually say start again. So it's basically saying you need to start your recording again. Unfortunately, it doesn't automatically restart. Now what I normally do, so once I've turned the unit back on after putting the batteries in, check that it's still navigating the route, and I'm on the map page, when I swipe up from the bottom, if you look in the left-hand side of that screen that you swipe up where you've got the start, you've got the satellite bars, those little green bars, make sure you've got a full satellite lock and then just press the start again and your recording automatically starts. With anyone who's got the older generation units, you know, likes of the Montanas, Oregon 600s, Map 64s, etc. The thing with they're automatically set when we send them out to always record. So when they come back on, they just start recording again. Hence, you don't have to.
Really summarise with a new GPS unit, Touch Oregon 700 range, is that we change the battery, switch off the unit, change the battery, switch it back again. It should still be navigating the route to the track, but we need to press the start button
again, and then it'll just continue from where it left off, so you don't lose your track recording at the start.
So SatMap top tip, Andy, then?
SatMap top tip is a real simple one, but it's something I've been asked a little bit about over the last few weeks. It's to do with the new Active 20 unit and charging it. I've had a few customers have queried me about it's taken a long time to charge. And when I've sort of got to the bottom of what the customer's doing, what I've found out, now I've done my own testing as well, with the Active 20 it has this really large 5,000 milliamp hour battery, which is great, but it does take a bit of charge. Now what I found customers are doing is plugging in the plug charger you get with the SatMap and then leaving the unit turned on while it's charging. Now I know sometimes you might want to do some work on your unit, so you'll do that, but we always recommend turn your unit off when it's charging. Otherwise it's always looking for satellites and doing other things in the background, and it takes a long time to charge if you leave it on. Also, some customers I've noticed have plugged it into that computer, the USB port. Now you will get a charge from your computer, but it's a very slow trickle charge. So I would recommend with the Active 20 you stick with using the mains plug that the device came with. And actually, I mean, if you want, you can turn the unit on to check. You can see the little charging bar in the top right of the screen. But I would always then turn your unit off and just leave it. I mean, I leave mine overnight, but potentially it can take 6 or 7 hours to fully charge. Unit turned off, and then that'll charge a lot quicker on your Active 20.
So that's to summarise, Active 20, when charging it, switch off the unit, plug it in, use the mains, and it'll take 5-6 hours to charge.
Use the mains charger,
Brilliant. Next thing.